to our next speaker, our incredible Connie Lucas.
Oh my gosh, thank you, thank you. So excited to be here. You've made your list. What now? So each of you in this room, and all of you who are viewing across the world, you're sitting here because someone invited you. Someone invited you to look at LifeWave, to look at the products, to look at the company, to look at the opportunity. That's why you're here. And we're all in this room together as well because we want to help people. We want to create income, we want to build communities, and we want to fulfill our dreams. So how are we going to do that? So I want to kind of lead off of what Garrett talked about. He had you guys all make a list, and I'm going to share with you how our team trains to hone down that list. Let's be intentional with that list. So take your list, and I want you to first go through it. And I want you to put a check mark by every single person you know who's entrepreneurial. Maybe they already own a business. Maybe they've always wanted to own a business. Maybe there's somebody that's just super unhappy with their 9 to 5. You know, they always wanted to do this. So entrepreneurial people. Then I'm going to have you go back through that same list, and I'm going to have you put a check by everybody who is interested in optimal health. They're looking for that next best thing. They love to work out. They're into wellness. They're into energy. Okay, put a check mark there. Remember, we're being very intentional with our list. And then next, who has a need? Who has a physical need? They're struggling with discomfort. They're struggling with something physically. Or perhaps they have a financial need. You know, one of the things we never know, many of you will go out, and I joke about it, and I said, you know, you're out there ambulance chasing. Because basically, you're out there looking for anybody with a cane, with something on their wrist, they're limping, and you're like, I can help you, I can save you, right? But the truth of it is, you don't know what's going on with somebody. I mean, Olga, this morning, my goodness, I can bet a lot of people didn't know what was going on with her. So here you are, and you're out trying to tell somebody about a product that you're convinced is going to change their life. And that's great, but you're not listening to them. You don't know what's really going on. And maybe all they're hearing is, she's trying to sell me something. When really what they need is an opportunity. Really what they need is a way to change their life, because month and money aren't meeting. Okay? So somebody who maybe you know they have a financial need, because you've had a conversation, you've got a relationship with them. Put a check by them. And strategically, let's start going out and let's start inviting with those who have 3 checks. These are the people that are going to be most open to what you're sharing and what you're inviting them to. So, how many of you have ever heard, I don't want to sell to my family and friends? Anybody heard that? How many have heard somebody say, I'm not a salesperson. I'm really not a salesperson. And to that, I usually say, thank heavens. Thank heavens, because we're going to have to rewire your brain if you are, probably. So there's a critical distinction. Selling is about being the expert. Selling is about going and pitching what you have. You've got your script. You're ready to go with the script to pitch them, right? Because the ultimate thing you want to do is close them. It's very transactional. But when it comes to inviting is about opening up a conversation, opening them up to a possibility. Okay, so how do we do that? Our role is to be a tour guide. We're more of a tour guide or a consultant than anything else. We're not really salespeople, because our job is to help people get enough information to make a decision that's best for them. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time because it's critical that we get this. Our job is to give people enough information to make a decision that's best for them. And what we're all trying to do here is we're not trying to sell them a patch. We're trying to help them get to their desired outcome. And some people need more information than others, right? So the one thing to know for sure is there is a key truth. And the key truth is whoever talks to the most people wins. That's all there is to it. And, and inviting is how we get to those wins. That is the only way to get to those wins. So I'm going to share a little story. I'm hoping I got enough time to do a few stories. I had a friend, Rebecca. She was a blast. I wanted her in my business so bad back in a former company. And I kept talking to her and talking to her and talking to her and telling her everything and why she needed to do it and what the product did. And one day, I finally got my aha. I was a really massive recruiter. I had a lot of people, but I could not duplicate. I couldn't duplicate to save my life. And Rebecca was the one that pointed it out when she looked at me and she said, you know, Connie, I'd really like to do this, but I will never be able to know everything you know. That was the day I got banged over the head and went, okay. So when I came into LifeWave, my first thought was, thank goodness I don't understand this thing at all. And so my first thing was that I was not going to be the expert. I was going to point to the tools. And that is what we're doing as a tour guide. So some people are natural communicators. My friend Barbara, I know she's watching out there. Oh my goodness, that woman, she could go up to a gift card rack with a person standing next to it and start a conversation. She can go to an Ione store to an appointment. She is a natural communicator, and she's so good at just talking to people. My friend Ann's the same way. And I started watching them, and I'm like, what are they doing? What do they do that's different? And what I realized is they ask great questions. They create curiosity, and they genuinely listen to their heart. Now, Anne, I got a lot of my lines from her because let's say, I'll take for an example, somebody came into her home and she noticed they were limping very, very badly. They were really struggling to get into the house. And she didn't just say, oh my God, let me patch you. Oh my gosh, I can fix you. She said, how did that happen? What's going on? And they told her. And then she goes, wow, well, what have you tried? And they told her, and she sat and listened to everything. And then finally she said the key question, but not right away. It was after listening, are you open to alternatives? When he turned around and said, I will try anything, now she's got someone leaning forward. She's got somebody that's curious, right? And she's leading them that way. So let's get a couple of lines that we've used in our business and I've stolen from many of you out there. So thank you, Peter, no to this one. Somebody asks you, what do you do? First thing we want to do is tell them all about our product. Well, I'm in a biotech company, and I sell these patches, and it's really this biomodulation stuff. No, when they say, what do you do? He says, are you into your health? Start with the question. Start a conversation. You might say, have you ever heard of biohacking? You might say, have you ever heard of light therapy? Find out what they know first. Are you open-minded to the possibility of earning extra income? That might be a way to talk to someone that you're just reaching out to. Find out how open they are. Are they looking? And this next one is how we built our entire organization, was built on this line. Oh my gosh, you got to hear what happened to my husband. All of you have heard the story. Oh my gosh, you got to hear what happened to my husband. And then they say, what? And I tell a story. I don't tell them what the product does. I share what happened to him. And then they say, what is it? And I point to a tool, right? So we're going to talk about that in a minute. It might be, oh my gosh, you got to hear what happened to me. Oh my gosh, you got to hear what happened to my friend. Okay, doesn't matter. And then this one I stole from Steve Merritt, and I love it. Remember the people that are the entrepreneurs we talked about? You want to send them a message? An entrepreneur can't resist this, and I love it. I found something everybody needs, hardly anyone knows about, and that screams opportunity. Because I'm going to tell you, when my husband, who's an entrepreneur, saw this company, he met David, he looked at what we had, and he said, are you kidding me? Drop everything else. Right? Entrepreneurs connect the dots. So if you can just create that curiosity. Okay, so We're talking about what we do now. We're pointing the tools. We've created curiosity. They're leaning in, right? So where are we going to point them to? We're going to point them to a video. We're going to point them to our team's website. We're going to invite them to an opportunity webinar, to an event like this, to a podcast. We're going to use a three-way call. Any of those things work. And I want to share this to you. Some of you have heard it, but for those of you that haven't, Dr. Tom is on my team. Now, Dr. Tom is a neurologist. So for me, I was a hairstylist for 42 years. But what Dr. Tom did is Dr. Tom had a circle of influence, just like all of you. He had people that knew him, people that trusted him. And so they came to him, and then after he got them leaning forward, he put them on a call with his sponsor or with myself. And he would edify us. We're really like-minded. We've been colleagues for years. I trust her completely. And I would get on the phone, and I would ask the questions, and I would answer their questions. He used me as his expert, right? So think about this again. I'm a hairstylist. He's a neurologist. But he even put his patients on with me. So who is an expert? Anyone but you. Okay? This is the biggest mistake we make in this business. We think we have to pitch, we have to talk, we have to sell, and you'll sign up people that way. But what you won't do is duplicate. And so what Dr. Tom was able to do is duplicate his organization because his people didn't think, well, I've got to be a neurologist to do this, right? They went, he put me on with a hairstylist. Anybody can do this business. So the key principles here are your job is to build the relationship. The tools deliver the facts, and that keeps it simple, duplicatable, and scalable. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about timing. And timing is just that your job simply is to invite. And it's not going to be the right timing for everyone. Okay, but things change. And so you keep building that list, and you keep those people on your list. And you might ask them, if they're like, yeah, I'm not really interested right now, you might say, hey, you know what, Sue, if I see something really interesting that I think you're going to love, can I send you something periodically? She's probably going to go, yeah, no problem. You're keeping them in the loop. You're keeping up that relationship. You'll have people that come in, life circumstances will change, and maybe they won't do anything but be a product user. But you love on them, you support them, you help get them to keep getting their results. And when their life changes, I guarantee you, if you keep that relationship you'll get the calls I've gotten, which is, I'm ready now. I'm ready now, let's go. And you can step back in. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, when all of a sudden the timing's right and they're ready. And all the success stories in this room and throughout the world are because someone initially invited. So I'm going to invite you today. Invite boldly. Your dreams are waiting on the other side of one brave invitation. Invite boldly. Your courage might be the doorway to someone else's freedom. And one simple invitation can awake a destiny. So, thank you guys.